Ever feel like you've got this like untapped potential, like you're capable of so much more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Today we're going to dive into the science of peak performance
Okay.
to explore how to tap into that power.
Sounds good.
Now, I know we've all heard about neurons and synapses and all that good stuff,
Right.
but like a little refresher never hurts,
Yeah,
right?
no, for sure.
Especially when we're talking about optimizing this complex machine
Absolutely.
for peak performance.
Yeah, so you can think of your brain as this massive network
Okay.
of billions of these tiny processing units,
Okay.
the neurons,
Right.
and they're constantly sending and receiving information.
Right.
And it's this intricate communication that kind of underpins everything we do,
Wow.
from the simplest actions to like the most complex thoughts.
So we've got billions of neurons firing away.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into that feeling of being in the zone
Right.
where everything just seems to click?
Yeah, so that's where brainwaves come in.
Okay.
So imagine your brain's activity as this like symphony of electrical impulses.
Okay.
And these impulses, they create rhythmic patterns that we can actually measure.
Interesting.
And these patterns are categorized into different frequencies,
Okay.
known as brainwaves.
Brainwaves, got it. So
Yeah.
different frequencies mean different things are happening.
Exactly.
In your brain.
Yeah, so each brainwave state, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma,
Wow, that's a lot.
they're all associated with different mental states and cognitive functions.
All right, so walk us through these brainwave states. Where do we start?
Okay, so let's start with delta, the slowest brainwaves.
Okay.
These are most prominent during deep dreamless sleep,
Okay.
and they're essential for restoration and healing.
Makes sense.
And as we transition into lighter sleep or like deep meditation, we see more theta waves,
Okay.
which are linked to creativity, intuition,
Yeah.
and vivid imagery.
So if I'm trying to come up with a new invention
Yeah.
or write a song, I should be aiming for more theta activity.
Well, not necessarily. While theta is associated with those activities,
Okay.
it's not the ideal state for focused work or peak performance.
Ah, I see. So which brainwave state is the real MVP
Right.
for unlocking our full potential?
That honor goes to the alpha state.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting in terms of performance.
Alpha waves, tell us more. Why is this state so crucial?
So alpha waves are dominant when we're relaxed, but alert.
Okay.
A state often described as flow or the zone.
Right.
Think about a time when you were so engrossed in an activity that time seemed to fly by. You were completely present, focused,
Yeah.
and performing at your best effortlessly.
Right.
That's the power of the alpha state.
Wow, I like the sound of that. So being in that alpha state sounds like kind of like the holy grail, right?
Yeah.
Of peak performance.
Right.
So what's actually like happening in the brain
Yeah.
when we hit that sweet spot?
So in the alpha state, our brain is essentially primed
Okay.
for optimal performance.
Right.
Research shows that alpha activity is linked to enhanced creativity,
Okay.
improved problem-solving abilities,
Right.
and even like reduced stress levels.
That makes sense. When I think about those moments when I've been in the zone,
Yeah.
it always felt, effortless.
Right.
And almost kind of blissful.
Exactly. And here's the exciting part.
Okay.
We're not just at the mercy of our brainwaves.
Right.
We can actually like learn to consciously influence them.
Wait, really? You're telling me
Yeah.
we can like train our brains to tap into this
Yes.
alpha state on demand?
To an extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
It's not quite as simple as flipping a switch,
Okay.
but with practice, we can absolutely nudge our brains towards more alpha activity.
Okay, so no magic button,
Right.
but we do have some tools at our disposal.
Exactly.
What kind of techniques are we talking about here?
So one of the most like powerful and accessible techniques is breath work. Something as simple as like changing our breathing patterns
Right.
can have a profound impact on our brainwave states.
Breath work. Yeah, I've definitely heard about that.
Yeah.
The benefits,
Right.
in meditation and relaxation.
Right.
How does it tie into like boosting our brain power?
Yeah. So when we take slow, deep breaths,
Okay.
it activates our parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
This is the system that's responsible for the rest and digest response.
Right.
It counteracts our stress response.
So by calming the body,
Yeah.
we're essentially like calming the mind
Exactly.
and creating this environment where those alpha waves can flourish.
Precisely.
Wow.
And as we shift into that relaxed
Yeah.
yet alert state,
Yeah.
we're primed for peak cognitive performance.
Right. It's amazing how something as
Yeah.
fundamental as breathing can have such a
Go right.
ripple effect throughout our minds and bodies.
Yeah.
Are there other techniques that can
Yeah.
help us tap into that alpha zone?
Absolutely. Another incredibly valuable tool is what we call focus flexibility.
Okay.
The ability to seamlessly shift between
Right.
different modes of attention.
Focus flexibility.
Yeah.
So it's not just about maintaining laser-like focus all the time. Focus flexibility.
Yeah.
So it's not just about maintaining laser-like focus all the time.
Exactly. Sometimes we need that intense hyper-focus
Right.
to really zero in on a task.
Yeah.
But other times, a more relaxed, open focus is key.
Okay.
Especially for creative brainstorming
Right.
or absorbing new information.
It's like that feeling when you step away from a problem
Yeah.
and suddenly the solution hits you.
Exactly.
Like when you're out for a walk
Right.
or taking a shower or something like that.
Precisely. That's your brain kind of shifting into
Uh-huh.
a more diffuse, open state of awareness.
Right.
Allowing for those aha moments to bubble up.
So how do we cultivate this focus flexibility?
Yeah.
Are we talking about specific exercises
Yeah.
or is it more about being mindful of our attention?
It's a bit of both, actually.
Okay.
There are some great exercises like object gazing,
Okay.
where you spend a few minutes
Right.
intently focusing on an object,
Okay.
and then you let your attention soften and expand.
Okay.
This trains your brain to shift between those hyper-focus
Right.
and open-focus states.
Object gazing. Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Simple yet effective.
Yeah.
What about other brain-boosting techniques?
Sure.
I'm ready to unlock my inner peak
Mhm.
performer here.
Well, don't underestimate the power of play and challenge.
Okay.
Engaging in activities that challenge our brains
Yeah.
in new and interesting ways can be incredibly stimulating.
So we're talking brain games and puzzles, that sort of thing.
Even something as simple as doing a crossword puzzle
Right.
or learning a new language
Okay.
can help forge new neural connections
Right.
and enhance cognitive flexibility.
It's like taking our brains to the gym.
I like that analogy.
Right.
And just like with physical exercise,
Yeah.
consistency is key.
Right.
The more we engage in these brain-boosting practices,
Right.
the stronger and more adaptable our minds become. So to recap, we've talked about the power of the alpha state
Yeah.
for peak performance,
Right.
and we've explored techniques like breath work
Right.
and focus flexibility
Yeah.
to tap into that zone.
Exactly.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners
Sure.
as they embark on their own brain training journeys?
Remember, this is a journey of self-discovery.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to how your brain responds
Yeah.
to different techniques and finding what works best for you.
Right.
Be patient with yourself.
Okay.
Embrace the process of experimentation.
Yeah.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that it's not about forcing ourselves into some rigid mold of peak performance,
Exactly.
but rather about exploring the incredible capabilities
Yeah.
of our own, unique brains. Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time, keep those brain